Hi people. Okay, so I have now completed, I haven't ridden it yet, so I don't want to say completed it too much, but we've ran it up, it starts fine, everything's great. This is a transalp 600cc 1998, and we have put a 650 engine into it because I couldn't find the other engine, 600 engine, cheap enough, and I picked this one up for 140 quid sterling, about 20-minute drive away, which was a strike of pure luck. Okay, so I've got a list here of the things that are going to be really difficult that you're going to have to do and think about. On your swing arm spigot that goes in, where it comes through to the back of the engine, in there, where this tube is pointing, hopefully my lovely assistant can get that, there is what can only be described as a top hat bush. Now, the problem we've got is the gap in this engine is bigger than the size of the bush. So what I ended up doing was getting the original bush, because obviously the inner diameter is where the spigot goes through, and that fitted it, but then you had a massive great big gap around it. So what I ended up doing was getting a strimmer, the tube, any bit of tube would do, get the tube, cut it in half, slide it on, and act as like a shim around that bush, but obviously make sure it fits, and then just tap it in with a load of copper slip and everything onto that little bit, and then just slide your shaft in. Obviously there's loads of videos on this thing, but I just thought I'd let you know. This doesn't fit too well. It was a bit different, but I mean, with a bit of jiggery pokery and some extra long studs, that fits. I have made a list so I don't forget. So that's your first one, the bush. Right, the wires that come out from, you don't have to change any of the triggers. Any of the triggers that are in here, you don't have to change. Okay, it's completely the same. I thought I was going to have to change the coil in there with the stator with the triggers to change it, but I didn't have to. You've got this wire that goes up and clips into the rectifier. These wires on this engine were about 4 or 5 inches too short, so I ended up cutting them, soldering them, heat shrieking them, and then joining them up to the rectifier up on the top under the seat. Okay, so you're going to come into that as an issue. Oh yes, coils. We had to mount the coil, quite hard to see. The coil is now mounted just on the side of the frame underneath, okay, up under there. So it's instead of being like central on the underneath of the frame, it's now sort of strapped to this crossbar that goes across. Again, the wires were too short. You bring them through from the other side. So again, we cut them, soldered them, and extended them through the frame that way. We have got the Y piece for the emissions tube. Now there is still some debate whether I've got that Y. If we go around the other side, obviously we've got our safety wear on for playing with bikes. Right. We have got, on this engine, 2 breathers for the rocker covers. On the earlier engine you only had 1. This is running the same airbox, the same carburetors, the same throttle cables, same clutch cable. Everything is all the same that's on the original bike. The only thing we changed was the engine and the exhaust I had to purchase because that was a different one. But on these rockers you've got 2 breather tubes for the emissions. What I ended up doing is you've got one that comes out there, one that comes out there. I brought them both up. I bought a brass Y piece, okay, so you have a Y piece, and then that then went into the side of the airbox, the long airbox on the top. So you have to get a brass eye piece, which I got from eBay for a couple of quid, so we've done that. And then that wire, that pipe then disappears down into the airbox there. Sorry, I've got to go back to my piece of paper. Coolant pipes. That's good. Yeah, coolant pipes. If my assistant looks under here, you should be able to see the modification we've done with the coolant pipe. Basically, we brought the original pipe up from underneath to here, and then we put a sleeve in, and we joined it to the underside of the radiator. So I don't know if you can see that on my camera, but just there we've got a sleeve that we've put in, and we've just extended it up there because obviously where it went before we can't now. If he looks in there with the camera, you will see now the bracket, the orange red oxide bracket is
Will it like
completely
paint?
different. Yeah,
Will it like paint?
yeah, well, it is paint. We had to cut it in half. I tacked it all, and then found out that we couldn't actually get the bracket out of the front of the engine because you've got an exhaust there and you've got a coolant pipe in the way. So we ended up cutting it in half, welding a washer to it, and then we used a stud going through that way. We welded a nut into it and then welded a washer on the front so it could come away in 2 pieces and then bolt them together. So we did that, and we also put a chamfer on it because it's going to hit the water pipe as it comes up to join the bottom of that radiator. You don't need to film my writing, Brian. My writing's useless. Right, engine water. Oh, water pump. Okay. Have we got anything on this side? That's it. It changed the exhaust. Yeah. Coil wires extended. Yeah. Chain. Yeah. I'm a bit. Yeah, go back to the other side. Yeah. We've just put the exhaust on today. I did think we were going to buy a bush for it, but we ended up not needing a bush. I haven't got the covers on there. Wow, it's such a cool engine. Look. If you had it running for about 5-10 minutes just to see if the thing would work, don't do that. You don't need to zoom in, do you? Right, let's have a look. Okay, so back round here, if my assistant comes through without touching the screen and ruining anything, we have another issue. The water pump down in here, hopefully he can film that part, the water pump. There it is, yep, the water pump here. The tube that comes out is a different size to this newer engine. This newer engine has a, no, sorry, the other way around. This had a bigger pipe coming out that then went off to the Y piece up to the 2 radiators, the bottom of the radiators. So what you can do is this water pump here, you can actually take the front of the water pump off with these half a dozen bolts. So you could take the front of the water pump off the old engine if you're going to do this and just bolt it straight onto the water pump. Obviously we haven't ridden it, but I'm presuming it's going to be okay, and to be honest it's been running for 10 minutes and I only just started moving the temperature gauge. I also have an issue with possibility of my chain being too long, because that's at the maximum amount I can get on there.
And if you cut it off, what's going to be the problem? You can't ride it.
Well, exactly, but we can take a link out, so I may end up having to cut a link.
Then you're going to... No. If you snap your chain, yes, you're going to have to take all this off.
No, you won't take all that off. No, you just cut a link out, Bri, and then just put another link in. Take a couple of links out, because I'm right at the maximum on the extension there. So I'm only ever going to want to tighten it more as it wears out. So I think I'm going to have to do something with this one. But I don't even know if they're a different chain. But everything fitted. The sprocket I used for the original engine, I had a new chain and sprocket. I think that is all you're going to really face, apart from the obvious sort of stuff of moving wires through and things like that. But yeah, apart from that, that's only 10 things really that are going to be an issue, and trying to find out where these pipes go. All my pals have all said that that just goes and gets hidden. They're just vent pipes for the carburetor. There is nothing else that's going to be difficult. Oh, I forgot the tubes. See, you've also got these vacuum tubes. On the older engine, there is 2 tubes that go in the back of this vacuum pump. And on here, I'm not too sure the setup on it because I didn't take it apart. But on here, you've got this vacuum pipe here. You've also got another vacuum pipe on the other side. So I just fitted 2 tubes in. But some people have said that the 2 tubes that come out, the vacuum tubes on the side of the vacuum tap, and not one of them's not actually a tube. It's just blank, but it did have a hole in it. So I thought, oh well, it's there, so I'll put it in there. Apart from that, and the lovely bracket under here that I had to modify, everything is all pretty good. Going that way, looking that way. You might be able to see the bends on that bracket, or you can see the bends on that bracket. So that is the only things that you are going to come up against when you change a transalp 1998 into... No, you don't need to, do you?
And we're missing this bit too.
Yeah, we've missed a cage on there. So that is the only things you're going to need to worry about if you're putting what I call the smooth engine, which is what I call that one, because it's got the smoother side rather than all the fins like the old transalp. So I could not find another engine, which is why I went for that one. So if you are going to do this swap, there are what, 10 things you're going to find that are going to be different. And apart from that, I'd go for it every time. So I think we're done now. Just prove she's in 1998. What is it?
Can I hold it?
No, you don't need to hold it because I'm going to end the picture, or you want to look at me and show my ugly mark. So, for all people who watch my channel and subscribe, and I just like doing shit like this. So we're all on lockdown. Be safe, everyone. Don't be stupid. Don't go riding your bikes. Yes, it could be classed as daily exercise, but you're not insured because you're out on it. And if you crash, do you really want to go to a hospital full of coronavirus people? No. So,
Like Boris Johnson.
well, bless him, he's poorly, and he didn't even want to go to hospital.
But
so, we're all done. So that is it. The transalp will soon be on the road, and I've just got to work out how to do blogging with the camera.
And when he went, when Donald Trump went to the
No,
thing,
we don't need to talk about Donald Trump.
he gone
We don't need
pink.
to talk about, so people don't want to hear about that. They want to hear about putting a 650cc transalp engine in a 600cc transalp. So that's all they need to know about.
Thank you for watching.
Yes, thank you for watching. Anything else I could say?
And subscribe.
And subscribe to my channel and,
And click-
see lots of shit.
And click the bell.
Oh, what's the bell?
It's when you click the bell and then everybody sees it.
Oh, awesome. Okay then, take care everyone. Bye bye.
Bye.